How did common tax loopholes even begin? Imagine trying to fix a small leak in a boat and ending up with a giant hole instead. That's kind of how tax loopholes started. They came from a tax system that kept growing more complicated over time. When the United States first created its income tax in 1913, it was pretty simple. Congress had the power to tax income, and the rules were straightforward. But as the government needed more money, especially during wars and economic crises, they raised taxes and added more rules. Lawmakers started including deductions, credits, and exemptions to encourage certain behaviors or support specific industries. For example, they created deductions for mortgage interest to promote homeownership or credits for retirement savings to help Americans plan for the future. Over time, these provisions multiplied. They weren't meant to be exploited, but some people and businesses found ways to take advantage of these rules beyond their original purpose. This is where the roots of loopholes lie. The tax code became a maze of special rules, often benefiting those with the resources to understand and navigate it. Big corporations and wealthy individuals could hire tax experts to find ways to lower their taxes legally. Meanwhile, average taxpayers had a harder time understanding or using these benefits. From a Republican point of view, this overcomplexity is a problem. They argue that a simpler tax system with fewer deductions and lower rates would make it harder for anyone to exploit loopholes. They believe that when the tax code is filled with special provisions, it favors those with access to expert advice and creates unfair advantages. A major step toward fixing this was the Tax Reform Act of 1986, signed by President Ronald Reagan. It aimed to cut down on loopholes by lowering tax rates and eliminating many deductions. The idea was to make the system fairer and more transparent, where economic decisions are based on market factors, not tax tricks. But even after that reform, new loopholes kept popping up. Congress often adds new incentives for things like home buying, retirement, or education, which can be exploited in ways that weren't originally intended. High-income earners and big businesses often find ways to use these provisions to pay less tax, which draws criticism that the system favors the wealthy. Most Republicans believe the real solution is to overhaul the tax code completely. They want to make it simpler, with fewer deductions and lower rates, so that everyone pays their fair share without needing complex planning. Recent efforts like the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017 tried to do just that by lowering rates and increasing the standard deduction. While these reforms closed some loopholes, new ones can still appear as the system evolves. So, in the end, tax loopholes started as unintended results of a tax system that grew too complex. Republicans have long argued that simplifying the code is the best way to close these gaps, promote fairness, and boost economic growth. The challenge is balancing simplicity with the many different interests involved in shaping tax policy.